Stand by for the Comic Industry Insider's live pre-show. Stand by graphics. Cue graphics. Roll intro. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start pre-show. Cue logo intro. We're live, people.
Oh, man, is it Tuesday already? We did this again. We got all the way around. We did a full 7 days. We came back here again. I'm so proud of us. You know what? All of us here watching, or at least the people in here, like we got another full week of our lives where we made our living either making or selling or talking about comics. It's crazy. It's crazy that we're able to do this. Anyway, my name is Adam Freeman. It says right there. Or right there. I'm not sure. I always get confused. This is Comic Industry Insiders Live, a weekly conversation with the people behind the scenes of the comics industry, getting to know, talking through the headlines, through the things that that we all kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis. And this right now is actually the pre-show show, so that we're going to do the show here in a minute. And then we'll do the actual show. So this is not the show. This is just our opportunity to make sure everybody is awake, and that Brian comes in the room at some point. I think he's going to. We'll see. But in the meantime, let's bring in the people that are behind the scenes in our what we call the green room. It's a lot of beards. It's a whole lot of beard this week. It's a big beard week. One of my favorite beards that I talk to every week. Marvin's here. Everybody say hi to Marvin. He's 2 minutes late.
Hey, Marvin.
We're going to put this on your file, Ben. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Now, when I said a beard, I didn't mean, like I use you to convince people that
I got you. You're good. No further
explanation. I just want to make sure
necessary.
that's clear, because I felt like it could have been a little ambiguous. We spent a lot of time together. I mean, people could make up to, Big
comics.
Big Beard Week. That's right. BBW. Big Beard. Thank you, Dirk. Really appreciate you, buddy. I think you broke Trevor, who's falling over in the green room. All right.
Nice.
Yes, this is Big Beard Week. You know what? Let's bring up another big beard who I do actually introduce so that people don't think I'm gay. It's Shannon Merritt. Hey, buddy. No, you can't hear me? Can you hear me, Shannon? Can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, no, you can't hear me? I can hear
him earlier when you were talking to him.
Say something, Joe.
They can't hear me now?
I can hear you, but I can't
really
hear
weird.
Adam.
Oh, weird.
Wow.
I can hear
That's going to
both.
make this real awkward. Okay. I'm going to pull. Joe, will you tell Shannon that I'm going to pull him out, and then maybe
What's
he
he
can
saying?
log back in?
Shannon, he's going to boot you, and then you're going to bring you back in.
Actually,
Okay.
have him log out and log back in.
Oh, he wants you to log all the way out,
All the way out.
Okay.
And
and bring you back in.
then come back in.
Log all the way out.
Go all the
I
way
haven't
out.
even logged in. I just clicked on the link.
So just do it again.
Just do it again. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
And this is what you can expect from Beard Week, only on
Beard
Comics
Week.
Industry Insiders. We have fun around here.
Listen, on Big Beard Week, we have all the technical issues because, turns out that Beard's not exactly who you want to bring in if you're going to do a live internet television show. Internet television, that's...
Yeah.
Can I boot him out? I'm going to kick him from the studio. I'm pushing that button. I'm kicking him from the studio. Kick guests will be removed from the studio. If you want to prevent this person from rejoining, you should ban them instead. I don't want to ban them. I'm just kicking them. There we go. Okay. Megan, you were here a moment ago, and then you jumped back out. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe she was just intimidated by all these beards. Trevor, is Brian not coming? Is there going to be no Brian? Do you know?
I've been talking with Brian. Maybe he's just trying to get his final slides done because I see he's adding stuff.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
might
that's
just
right.
be like, "Don't talk to me. I'm working. I'll be there when I'm ready."
It could be. It could be. I don't
Hopefully.
need a banter. I got slides to do. Is
Yeah.
what he's saying. Let's see. So I'm looking now at the deck that he's working on. Oh yeah, like there's new stuff in here. He's
throwing in a bunch of stuff. So
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I say let him cook. He'll be here when he's ready.
Yeah,
He's never let us down.
No,
Yeah.
not yet.
So,
Not yet.
wait, Shannon's back. Should we try this
Yeah,
again?
let's see, because it's gonna be fun if he can't hear us. Because it did work in the green room, right? Like earlier, we checked. All right, I'm gonna wait until we're not looking at his hand. Joe, how's your week been, buddy? You don't have any books going to print this week, do you?
I have The Future Is number 18 going to print this week. By James Harvey. He also from Doom Patrol, from the Young Animal line. He also colored it and lettered it. He kind of just did everything except for write it, which Fred Bench did. So
did we get all that for one price? Because I want to make sure when I pay the invoice.
Yeah. It's
all right.
Done. He's good. But yeah, he's killing it. That's really exciting. It's public, David. Yeah. We announced David Lapham's drawing the book. I get pages from him like nonstop, dude. I got stuff. Yeah.
Y'all. You can't have him. He's ours. But that David Lapham, he's a monster.
I was going to headline. David Lapham is great at drawing comics.
This just
add that to the slide deck.
The headlines you need.
I will tell you, I've worked with artists who I feel like, it's like you're trying to convince them that they like making comic book pages. Like you're like, hey, remember that thing that you agreed that you were going to do with us? And like you enjoy doing that, right? And getting paid for it. Yeah. You never have to remind David Lapham. You just let him go.
He's a super pro. And it's cool because the two issues he's drawn 21, he's drawn 20 or 20 and 21. And they're both very different, and they're both awesome in their own way. I'm being vague because I don't want to get too much of the story, but it's very cool.
Absolutely agree, Dirk. He is seriously. He's just he's one. We're gonna look back on this time and go, how did we miss David Lapham?
Well, we didn't over here at Recca Comics. We got him on board. We're celebrating that dude. He's great.
You know why? Because if you're going to do 5 years of monthly issues, you kind of want somebody.
It's a good choice. Solid choice.
Brian's here.
Oh, right on. Actually, let's see if Shannon, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
me?
me?
Yes.
Yay!
You're good.
Oh,
nicely done.
Thank goodness gracious.
The old I don't know. Back on again.
Brian now is in the green room, and I'm a little worried about bringing him on because his beard is not quite up to snuff. I think.
I noticed it looks smaller.
I know. Yeah. I've been
Brian.
Fellas, I keep trimming.
What is this jazz brush bullshit going on right here?
It gets so long, and then I just I got to trim it down to number 2 again.
Kind of just looks like Shannon has absorbed your powers, and it's just coming out right here.
Oh,
there can be only one.
I believe in the carpet matching the length of the drapes. If you know what I'm saying.
I'm contemplating shaving.
Don't do it, Shannon.
No,
don't do it.
At New York Comic Con.
Gosh. In front of an audience
on a panel
for a cosplay. I'm thinking about it.
Oh my god!
You're cosplaying as somebody who is not Shannon Merritt. What what does Erin have to say about this?
She told me that she said she was like, you haven't seen your face in a long time. You might not want to do that.
It's weird. I've never had a beard that big, but even when I've gone from long to short, it's like, ugh, that's my face. Ugh.
I haven't seen my face in probably 3.5 years, and I'm like at that age where I'm starting to look older, probably. So I don't know what this is hiding underneath here.
I get it. I do that every year. I try and just do it once, like during my little spring kind of cleanup that I do. But we're about to go into my winter beard phase where I allow it to. I see how long I can go from equinox to equinox. See, so, well, actually, it usually ends up being from equinox to Comics Pro because I just don't want to that giant beard,
Yeah.
But there was I keep going back to this I can't believe we're having an entire conversation about beards. This is the beards show right now. This is what's going on. But what is his name? The guy who founded CBR.
Jonah Weiland.
Jonah would talk about how his dad would always change up his beard, and he said why? And he said because I have to look at this face every day. And I get so tired of looking at this face that I got to make it new. I got to change it up. So Yeah, I feel that. Like, I'm so tired of looking at this. I don't know why you guys watch this show. Yeah. All right. We have 4 more minutes. Anybody, Shannon, what is the one thing you think we should be talking about this week? We may actually have it on the deck, and I'll let you know. Like, what is the big story this week, do you think? Because you weren't involved in any of this.
The one big story this week in comics, I guess you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you put me on.
We don't talk about the outside world here. There's no
What?
politics in this room.
No, it's I have a feeling I know what you're going to be talking about.
Sure.
I mean, it's on the tip of my brain because I know I heard something earlier this week. I can't remember what it was.
Right there. It's around the tip of his brain.
I can see it.
Oh, no, it's over there.
I don't know.
Oh, come on. One thing we think we should be talking about. This is really great television, watching Shannon trying to worry about what it could be. Was it one story that came up this week that you were
I can't remember.
He doesn't have one.
I'm
See?
sorry. I'm
sorry. I put you on. I'm sorry. I put you on the spot. It's rude. It was very rude of me. This is not the kind of thing. This is not gotcha. This is not
that
gotcha
kind of show.
No. Although we should do this gotcha show. Like we should get like.
Isn't there some kind of artist that's been kind of pulled back into the mainstream? That's kind of controversial. Besides Warren Ellis.
Oh, other than Warren Ellis,
Isn't there always? What is it? The ending in a what?
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of right now.
It's just, I did that to myself. That was the one story we decided not to talk about this week. That's why we're gonna see how it progresses. So there you go. Yeah. See, I did that to myself. Here we are.
Total self-own. But that's enough said about that, right? We touched on it.
Yeah. So what's the story?
What story? There's a lot of stories. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to be Brian and I are going to do a whole rundown here in about 2 minutes.
All right.
I mean, I know too much, but I will say whatever. I'll add something to the conversation here.
Let's go.
Marvel Midnight turnaround. I'm very fascinated by.
Right?
Yeah. It is to me, like, folks, if you're in the industry and you view it as a business, which obviously it is, pay attention to Marvel Comics right now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to you guys discussing that. I'm going to tune in as a listener for that portion.
We are. I'm not even sure if is that on their list for this week.
I'm actually, I've got a little something that I'm doing right now.
Oh, you are. Yeah, I was about to make that slide because I definitely forgot to do that one.
We actually decided earlier we're going to do a deep dive on that because I think the Marvel Midnight thing is a true example of the power of marketing. What the marketing 100%. Department at a publisher can pull off, right?
That's it.
Because editorial has been doing their thing all along. And right up until recently, it was the power of, marketing isn't doing anything? Too bad. It doesn't matter how good it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But recently, the marketing department went, hang on, we got to sell some shit. And so they put together a whole, it has made complete difference. The numbers that we see behind the scenes have just
But even I don't look at the numbers like you guys do. I just read the room, and the temperature for them has gone up significantly in the positive way.
For the Marvel Midnight stuff.
Yeah.
I did the FOCs last night, so I saw a whole bunch of it. But I guess I haven't seen all the hype that you guys are talking about. I am busy. I'm really busy right now, though. So.
I think it's going to be a sleeper. I think that, and I think it's going to be guys like you who are so busy you didn't see it that you're going to get surprised by.
I ordered plenty
coming in. Okay, good.
I went hard on it because I was like, okay, I kind of just saw just from the FOC, even the LED light thing and the package you could do stuff like that. That was kind of interesting.
It's going to be people like Tommy though that get caught off guard. He gets the signed package, but he doesn't get enough books to. Not that I'm saying you got enough books. I'm just saying maybe you did. Maybe.
maybe.
It's gonna be a great show, you guys. We're doing great.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
I'm just gonna keep putting my foot in my mouth for the entire show. All right, y'all. This is a pre-show. We're finally ending the pre-show banter. We're gonna drop everybody off. Shannon, we're gonna bring you back in. Trevor, you're back in later. Joe, I'm gonna talk. I don't know. It seems inevitable.
I'm busy today, but I just want to say hello.
Hello,
comics here and head out.
All right, excellent. I'm going to get rid of some beards. All right, let's go. All right, Lana, why don't you somebody hit that button? Let's just Brian, let's you and I go live. We're going to start this live. Welcome to Comic Industry Insiders Live, a weekly conversation where my buddy Brian and I, we talk to people, we talk to ourselves, we talk to each other about comics and all the things that are happening inside of the industry of comics. They're going to change your business or career in comics. I really am keeping Brian up for this intro because I guess he's over there. It always confuses me. Brian, I always keep him up. This week, obviously, I think he's actually still building graphics, so he's looking off.
I just did. I just built it. It's done.
Oh,
I made
it's
it.
done.
I made it. Yeah, it's done.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I made it.
Fantastic. It's been a busy week. We're finally starting to feel like everything's starting to heat back up. You know, like we went through that kind of quiet period post San Diego.
Yeah,
and now everybody's really like getting up to speed.
News has been pretty quiet. It's still kind of the end of August when nobody really, in the PR department, they all take vacations right now. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a little quiet, but yeah, we're starting to see some stuff behind the scenes that is starting to really ramp up. And I think we've got a pretty exciting fall.
I think so too. I mean, I know I'm really excited about some of the announcements that we have, the stuff that's coming up, but also just seeing the things that are being built. It's gonna be a good fall. It's gonna be a very good fall.
Yeah, for sure. We just did a Managed Comics 1 day like offsite kind of session with all of our staff, and are getting planned up for some pretty big announcements this fall. Pretty big announcements.
Pretty big. Do you guys all get into our same room, or do you?
We actually physically drove to like Kitchener-Waterloo, and I don't know which of those two cities I was in because they call themselves Kitchener-Waterloo, and spent the day so we did like a 90-minute drive there and 90-minute drive back, because that's where Max, one of our QA guy and help guy, is. He lives in Kitchener, so we thought we'd drive to him. The rest of us.
Most of Canada is just an amorphous blob in my mind, but isn't Kitchener where Dave Sim was?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now and Then Books was there, which is a pretty famous comic shop. The Dragon is like 20 minutes away in Guelph, because they're all kind of like within a 20-minute drive. Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and Guelph. So it's and it's like Waterloo is where BlackBerry was founded. There's a big Google kind of group there. Yeah, it's a good little area.
Well, we have a good little show. You want to talk about it? What are we doing? Tell us. Show us what we're doing.
I do. I guess I should probably share the deck.
Yeah, let's see it. You don't really have a screen up here that I'm seeing.
I know.
Oh my God. Is that Sean with his actual background in the green room? Look at that.
Oh my goodness. No, he's probably in an Airbnb again. Probably. Like he was last time.
All right.
This week is your panel, buddy. It's your secret history of the comics industry.
That's right. This is a panel that I've been doing a few times called The Past, Present, and Future of Comics Distribution. We thought the secret history was a little sexier. But yeah, basically just understanding, if you understand how distribution has changed over the course of this industry's life, you understand the format, right? You understand the size of books. You understand why certain books do well and certain books never really get off the ground. It's a fascinating look, and man, there's a whole lot more mob than anybody really was ready for. A lot of mob. A lot
more mob than what you were thinking.
And we have a special guest, somebody who told me a story once, and I said, "Can you come on and tell us that story about the mob?" Basically, no, it wasn't about mob. Well, about crime. Criminals who like to make comic books is really the theme of this week's show. Not including us. Oh, hey, let's give some stuff away.
What are we giving away this week?
Man, I didn't even think about that.
Let's zoom in on Adam and see what he's giving away so that
No, gosh.
I
Guys,
can
don't
write
zoom in on
down
me
the
just yet. Let's see. Let me see what
he's
I've
looking
got.
for things.
Hang on.
He's gonna
Hang
find
on.
something.
Pick a. You're gonna vamp for a minute, but give me a number between 1 and 10. Hang on just a second.
1 to
Sean,
10.
give me a number between 1 and 10.
Hold it up with your fingers.
Hold up. 6. Okay, great.
Six.
We're gonna bring you
Okay,
back in later.
6.
All right, hang on. All
He's
right,
got 6. All right.
you vamp while I grab number 6.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's been a heck of a week this weekend. Why don't I, I'll preview what we're talking about this week. So we've got headlines. We've got some really fun headlines, and there's one that I just added that nobody knows except for me. So that will be especially entertaining when everyone else sees that suddenly and says, "Oh, where'd that come from?" We're doing the secret history of the comics industry. I just looked at it. I think it's about 86 slides. So this is probably going to be a long episode. And then we're going to bring in the Prana bestsellers list and, of course, our regular wrap up. But in the meantime, Adam is right back right now
That's
with
right.
our, what is it?
I
What do we got?
have, if you got to put in, CII Live, hashtag CII Live into the chat because you're going to get an opportunity to get issue number 7, not even out until next week. You'll be getting this in an early version of issue number 7 of Comics the Magazine.
Okay.
That's a good one. And then Sean picked box number 6, which, by the way, was exactly the same box you picked last week. So
Yeah, I thought so.
So I had to dig a little deeper, and we got, this is from Aftershock. This is from my comps collection. The Ed Breeson and Damian Cusiero. Somebody pronounce Damien for me. Beyond the Breach from Aftershock. This is a trade paperback. You got it's like $16.99 like there. So that's a decent package right there, my friends. CII Live. Hashtag CII Live into the chat. Okay, great. Let's go.
All right. Well,
What are we doing?
I just got to push some buttons. Well, we just talked about that, Adam.
Oh,
you
did
were
that already.
too busy to hear what we're doing, but we're
I don't
about to
know.
jump into. Okay, I just gotta fix up my scroll here because we're gonna have a scroll any second now.
Here comes the
Okay,
scroll.
there we go. Get ready, people. Scrolling.
Preparing to scroll.
I need to save the scroll and then
Roll.
scroll and then
thank
hide
God.
that. There we go. Okay, so get in on your giveaway right now.
Hashtag
Get in
CII Live.
because that's right.
Just
CII
like
Live.
just like we got Juan, we got Combat Hippie, we got Tommy, we got Lunatic, we got Jeremy. Like y'all got to get in on this. It's gonna be a good week. Okay, great. What's happening?
Professional programming announced. I actually didn't. I saw the email, but I didn't read it. What in the world is going on with professional programming?
Well, so it's
New York Comic-Con.
So there was a little bit of question this year about how this was going to go down, and they finally got all the pieces back together. Behind the scenes, what happened was there's a particular guy. His name is Alex Ray. He'd really kind of sold ReedPop on doing Retailer Day, and he did. He stepped away. He went to go work for PSA, and he's doing their events. Good guy, Alex. He and I worked together back at Valiant. Anyway, so they stepped away, and it took a little while for them to kind of get the whole team, who was in charge of Retailer Day. Finally did. Now there's a full schedule. There's a really nice list of industry programming. There's going to be the standard ICV2 day, I think, is on Wednesday, and then Retailer Day is on Thursday. And then we're all living in the Javits Center for 3 or 4 days or whatever it is. Yeah. And so, it's on the big piece is they kept the lounge area up there for meetings and such. That's huge.
Oh, that is huge. And there's like really nice little pods and things that you can go into. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I think you can rent those, and they are not cheap.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But all those tables out there, man, I just, last year I just hung out there, and it was great, actually.
Yeah.
I will tell you. It's no Marriott pool bar, but it'll do for a meeting or two. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I will actually be there like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I leave on Saturday. I gotta get
Right
back
on.
here. Yeah,
This is this one of
yeah.
those things where you say you're going, and then at the last minute you go, ha ha ha, didn't
No,
really.
I just bought tickets. I bought a plane ticket. I bought a hotel room.
Um,
I'm
Excellent.
going. I'm going. There's no two ways about it.
It's gonna be a good time. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
it'll be
Awesome.
fun.
Is it worth
Uh,
going? Is it worth going? Lunatech asks. I think so. I think
yeah,
NYCC is, I mean, especially if you're working in the business of comics, even if people are not displayed there, people show up. If they're on the East Coast,
yeah.
this is where people kind of congregate. So certain
Retailer Day.
publishers will really like put their flag on New York or
Yeah,
put their flag at San Diego. Pick one.
yeah. Retailer Day it's the Wednesday, and it's like a Comics Pro kind of thing. And the show isn't open yet, so you're kind of behind the scenes,
Yeah.
which is pretty nice. And there's a bunch of creators that will come to this, like, New York-based creators will be there on the Wednesday. Thursday is the ICV2 stuff, and that's always entertaining. There's always something interesting that Milton does. Like a couple of years ago, it was Mike Carlin and Jim Shooter
Yeah.
in a panel, which was really cool. He always does something neat like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be really. No, Jeremy, Ice doesn't know I'm going, and we're going to keep it that way. I'm smuggling myself across the border. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
17 years later, Disney's $4
This is
billion
crazy.
Marvel gamble is now worth an estimated $54 billion. Can you imagine how much more it would be worth if they had the film rights to Spider-Man 2? Uh, by the way, Spider-Man Brand New Day is now the fourth highest grossing movie of all time.
That's insane. That is
In
insane.
2026, when everybody thought movies were dead,
Yeah.
Spider-Man came back and showed that it's not. And I mean, the Odyssey has shown they're not dead. There's been a few really, really big movies, and most excitingly, a bunch of really small movies that have made a bunch of money, like the Backrooms, no, not Companion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Companion. Yeah, these great little movies that are, $5-10 million or less, that are making tons and tons of bank and getting people to the theater. So I'm excited about that. But yeah,
I
look at
am too.
this.
I would also
$54
like to
billion
thank
dollars.
some site called Comic Basics, which I'd never heard of before. And so we got with this, but I think that says so much. I remember very clearly that $4 billion sale and how it had changed. In many ways, it changed a
Yeah,
lot about comics. That $4
yeah,
billion sale meant that everybody could come in and say, well, we're the Marvel 2.0. Valiant, we were kind of part of that. Part of the reason that Valiant really took off was because the turnaround CEO of Marvel that got them to that sale had all this money out of that sale, and so he bought a big portion of Valiant and it was on the board. It was the board of directors, was a chairman of the board. I've been talking for a little bit and I cannot seem to remember pull up his name during that period. But but anyway, yeah, like in many ways, those things happen. But I think the really interesting part about this is that Marvel has always been the model for what happens when you build an IP company based on comics, right?
yeah.
It's always showing the top end.
Mhm.
And $54 billion is a big top end for bringing people interest into comics, bringing investors into comics, bringing entrepreneurs into comics. I think I love these kinds of stories because it just means that we show more relevance, to the business
Yeah.
world. So yeah.
So that was that it was 17 years later. So that was 2009. Is that right? So
That sounds right. Yeah, that's
yeah.
exact. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it was also kind of the model for Disney purchasing Lucasfilm, which happened in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And very much both of those were because Disney by 2000, the 2010s had locked up the girl market, right? Like
Right.
princesses, if you remember back to 2010, were all the rage, and everything was princess, princess, princess. And suddenly they bring in all of the boy IP, and they had everything, right? They had the whole
Yeah.
thing. And then they did this clever thing of making both of those properties like open for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
after that, yeah, it's brilliant. And Wonderful. We got a question. If that's true, why is my Disney stock worth less than 2 years ago? I'll tell you why. Because the stock market's fake. It's a Ponzi scheme, and somebody's going to get stuck with it. And it's not going to be the institutional investors. It's going to be you. And how do we
Well,
know? Because there's a movie called Dumb Money. Go watch it, and it'll teach you everything you need to know. Stock market's such a joke. Wizards of the Coast announces reality fracture shortages. What is going
oh
on?
man. I think
I
this
said,
this is going to be fascinating to see how this downstream affects all the comic shops right now that are like really. I mean, we're seeing this on the state of the direct market reports that, like, while our quarter one, like, trading cards were doing incredibly well, quarter two kind of flat,
yeah,
right? So if we're seeing a drop like this, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it means more money's going to go into other departments. I don't know hopefully people come in and get used to spending money in the comic shops and they're
yeah.
going to look for other things, but the real fear is that we're not going to see people come in at all, right?
A
So
lot of this was also around there was a problem with the Panama Canal, the
oh, that's right.
record shortage of water, and so the canal has had really a difficult time getting people through, getting cargo ships through. So some of this will bounce back in later quarters, and I'm sure there's still going to be sustained, interest in this stuff. The problem is with the quarterly pushes that Magic does for new sets,
Yeah.
like, will reality fracture still be important in 3 months? Who knows? But we'll see very soon. But the reason that this kind of came up as an important news story is this could indicate problems for other products as well. If Magic is having a hard time getting stuff through, there's other stuff that's printed overseas that has to come through that same channel, which may have some problems. So just be aware, it could be a tough couple months.
I'm very confused though what you're saying, because my understanding is that the environmental issues have absolutely no effect on business. So how is
Yeah,
this
no, you're right.
possible?
Yeah, no, sorry. Again, I'm getting, yeah, you're right.
It
That
doesn't make
I
any sense to
I
me at
I
all.
live in a delusionary world where IDW, speaking of environmental factors, they delayed they delayed releases, and some big releases too. Like, there's some Star Trek books in there that I'm sad to see in a forest somewhere. I
I
don't
just
even
think,
remember where
yeah,
this
I don't.
was.
How many pitches are we going to be hearing for the next few months where the trees fight back? They're
Yeah,
like, no,
for sure.
no,
Yeah.
no more, no more. Will you be taking our children?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, IDW's
Uh,
announced that they're going to be yes, the trees wanted to go home. They'll be rushing out replacement copies for these, so they will make it probably in the next couple of weeks. Some good books in here. I can't remember what the entire list was. I just remember there was a fairly high profile Star Trek that I know my customers will be sad about, but it'll be out in a couple of weeks. Do we
so
think there's a tree damage 8.5 being sent to CGC? If it still has the pine needles, I think it's got a shot.
right. So theoretically, I mean, I know they're reprinting all of these things, but if they weren't, then anything that it was like the best version of this package would be, you could get a 10 that was like had pine needles stuck to it because
Look
they were
at
all
look
had pine needles.
look at that rig though. Like, there's still untouched boxes up there. There's a bunch of
Yeah,
10.0s in there. Oh
there
yeah.
you
Oh
go.
yeah. Yeah.
That's it, man. This is
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It'll be a pedigree from now on. The IDW truck massacre, or
Yeah.
whatever you call
Oh yeah, you get a little, you do, like, you take this picture and
it.
you make it an image in the upper corner of the CGC, like they
Yeah,
do with the special
exactly.
collections.
Yeah, it's a
CGC,
pedigree.
I'm
It's a
giving you
pedigree.
that one for free. Absolutely free. That's a free idea you can take and run with.
Trevor is telling us in the. By the way, before we leave, because I just noticed the private chat is up. Trevor's telling us Event Horizon Inferno #5, Sonic and Godzilla versus Sonic X Godzilla #2, Star Trek 60th anniversary, and TMNT Journeys #13.
I wonder, those would have been out this week, I think. So I wonder if that's why no, I think they're next week. That would be next week's stuff, I think. But my order was a little late this week, so
That could
maybe.
be. I don't know.
So this week, FOCs were for midnight And I've been saying all along that I come from the future and I'm a little bit worried about midnight. And then a couple weeks ago, I changed my tune and said, guys, I come from the future and I'm cautiously optimistic about midnight.
This is
And
true.
now I tell you, I come from the future and man, Marvel did a good job. Like, such a good job.
I think,
Last
I
week,
mean, yeah.
they released full previews for retailers to read, which was the best thing ever because instantly the retailer forums were full of crotchety old men talking about how much they disliked the book that I think is going to be this knockout. Um, yeah, it was fascinating, and on top of that, like they people have always said, hey, give us deeper discounts. They gave deeper discounts. People have
Yeah.
said, give us bundles. They made bundles. People have said, give us previews of this stuff. They gave you previews. Like they gave you everything you wanted. And if this doesn't do super well, it's not for any fault of theirs, like trying to build a good product for sure.
Well, what I also think is interesting is like you started seeing graphics like this, and they started seeing like breakdowns of what the covers
Yeah.
were, and there's light boxes for this doors. Like they're doing the thing, and it's such a weird turnaround that but it's because they went from not marketing at all to like becoming best in class marketing, and that's
Yeah.
where we saw the shift, right?
Yeah.
In what we're
Absolutely.
now calling the fan confidence rating. Now, this is something we've been playing with for a while. Do you want to talk about this, or should I? It's up to
Yeah,
you.
I can talk about this. Well, so
Okay.
this is a tool that we have kind of behind the scenes that we've been working on through Managed Comics because we have like 60, 70,000 users that are actually subscribing to things in our system. On top of that, we have retailers running orders through it. So we can look at those numbers and say, this is how much retailers are betting on it versus how much fans are betting on it.
Yeah.
And so with this number that we're sharing this week, it's really just the overall summary of like where these are going to fit in the FOC for this week. But definitely, like in the future, we want to be able to say a little more accurately. We think fans have a lot of confidence in this versus retailers who have less confidence. But yeah, these are cool numbers, and it's interesting to see where DC is still hanging out in these numbers now. And the other thing is you got to understand that people can like build their orders in Managed Comics and then adjust them in the distributors places, which is what I do a lot of the times. Like I'll still kind of adjust things last minute. So these aren't going to be one-to-one accurate for what we think is going to sell, but it's going to be pretty darn close. Are we ready to see it?
Yeah, let's go. Let's show us the FCR, if you will.
So FCR this week says that Absolute Batman is still going to be the number one,
Okay.
which shouldn't be too surprising because those numbers are astronomical.
Yeah.
Absolute Wonder Woman number two, Midnight Spider-Man number three, Midnight X-Men, Midnight Fantastic Four. Now, my prediction is actually Midnight Spider-Man will probably be the number two that week. X-Men's going to be the number three, and Fantastic Four will probably be in like the 5 or 6 category.
So this is, I mean, just so that I can play the simple son here. So
Yeah.
this is for books that are shipping in how many weeks?
October 7th is
October
what
7th. So
this
this would
group
be
is.
the same week as Free Comic Book Day, not Free Comic Book Day,
Yep.
New York Comic Con.
Yep.
And so this is a look at how people are subscribing or pre-ordering. So you're predicting, this is a prediction based on those subscriptions and pre-orders, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's
Very
kind of like
cool.
what we're seeing like with retailer velocity as well. Like we're going to see retailers adding on. So this kind of falls in line with it falls in line with my reading experience. I think Midnight
Yeah.
Spider-Man is definitely the most interesting, is the one that is going to grab that absolute Batman crowd. The one that everyone's sleeping on is definitely Midnight Fantastic Four. It's just crazy. Like it's so off its rocker that I think it's going to really, really pull people in. Probably like issue 3 on. And then Midnight X-Men, everybody. So I sometimes, Adam, I think I'm real dumb because I read it twice and I just didn't care either time, and everybody's
Yeah.
going gaga, going, "Oh my God, Hickman did it again!" And I'm like, "What? What did he do? Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. It was good. It will be like the second most popular of these books, but yeah, I don't
I've
get
told the
it.
story before, and I'm not sure if I have it on here, but there was a moment when I was a retailer that I realized, oh, I'm no longer the target market. And
Yeah,
that for
yeah,
me, that was Jeff Johns. I
yeah,
didn't understand why he was so successful. I didn't understand why people liked it so much. I just couldn't do it. Like, it wasn't, not that it was bad. I could see how people would like it. It just wasn't for me. And,
yeah.
we all get there, Brian, eventually. It's you're where you are.
This is interesting because I think that if you have an older cohort in your store,
Mm,
like an older group of
mhm.
subs, I think X-Men is going to do really well. I think people that love Krakoa are going to love this. I
Yeah.
loved Krakoa, and now I need the next thing. I don't need Krakoa yet personally, but that's just who
Yeah.
I am. But I think older folks that really like that kind of stuff are going to love X-Men, and it's going to do really, really well. I think Spider-Man is going to be the thing that brings the younger people in and that gets you that absolute Batman crowd. And it's going to be like 6 issues in, everybody's going to want 1 through 4. And I hope Marvel takes DC's like rapid reprinting strategy and uses it as well, because I think they've got something interesting here that's definitely going to do some numbers for sure.
This will be interesting to see if this, as predicted, right, goes really well, because the whole midnight thing has looked like a copyright squat, right? I don't know what we really call it, but I just made that up, right? So every few years, Marvel and even DC has to do the same, but they have these like sort of niche pocket universes that they have to bring out every now and then, right? So that's why
Mm,
you're going to see Marvel
interesting.
Zombies every decade or so, right? You're going to see, you always have to see these like Midnight Suns or whatever, whatever
A
it is, every
thing
10 to
solo
15.
comic every, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because they have to maintain the copyright.
sure.
So, I mean, in many ways, this looked like that kind of play to me from, from a little while into it. And so my question is, if this is as successful as you seem to think it's going to be, do we think Marvel's going to go, oh, well, this is a real hit. Let's keep reprinting. Let's go from a mini series to an ongoing. If this is our absolute, well, why not keep it going? I'm
Yeah.
curious to see it, whether or not that is it. Like, if you're in the comments, we'd definitely love to hear. Do you think this
I think
is this like a little mini event, or is this like an ongoing initiative?
that's
And
fair. Yeah.
I don't think they know yet, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I think they're going to wait and see how people react.
for
So
sure. Yeah. But
anyway,
the thing is, they've got to give this the same amount of breathing space that Absolute had, because
yeah,
Absolute was a winner out of the gate. But really, it's the momentum over that after that first year, right? Like it was really good. And then year one, by the end of it, like that's where it just rocket shipped up
yeah,
in popularity. So hopefully they've got the patience, because Marvel has a habit of like 5 issues in deciding they're done with a thing, which means they've decided at issue 3 if they're going
yeah.
to end it at 5. So we'll see. We will see. But that
We
brings
shall
us
see.
to, could there be another comic boom on the horizon? Question mark.
Okay. So this one came out of a post that I just saw in one of the groups that I follow. And this one came from a vendor who I'm just going to read it really quickly. I'll scan through a little bit. Hey peeps, I've been reading and collecting off and on for 40 years, being a comic book vendor at cons since 2019. I've sold through the COVID boom and subsequent crash. Last couple of years, it feels like the comic crash has leveled off and even signs of coming back. Then I vended at a show 2 weeks ago. Your average 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Comic-Con, maybe 100 tables, medium-sized hall. My sales doubled from last year. Over $1,000 an hour. Slabs, mini runs, hot books, $2 section, everything went. I have a Spider-Man section, which is 5 boxes of Spidey Volume 1 from around issue 30 all the way through to 700. Also full runs of Web. I had 3-person lineup for just that section. He goes on to continue to talk about, people coming in and asking for Dr. Doom books, talking for Green Lantern books. Like they're excited about these brands. And this is at like small comic shows, right?
Mhm.
So here's my question. are we setting things up right now for a boom? Because we've had, I mean, it's been since COVID that we've really been one, but we haven't seen ourselves in this sort of plateau that we, not a plateau, but like at heights that we're at right now. I don't think we've seen a boom from this place. Like we saw COVID go all the way down and go, wow, and then come back down a little bit. And then, but like we haven't gotten up to here and then go, and then a jump. So I'm curious to see, like, I'm gonna leave this up. As I look at our crew, like the people in our chat, that most of these folks are retailers. So I want you guys to be on the lookout. Let us know when you're starting to see those early signs of people jumping in. Also, I say that I look at the chat and I realize we just got something from Comic Drake. I love your stuff, man. Thanks so much for
Comic Drake. Oh, man, I love Comic Drake. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's amazing.
I think, I mean, it's going to be a really interesting time as we start to see Marvel doing the movies people care about again. Green Lantern on HBO has been really fantastic.
Absolutely,
I mean, the DC movies are coming in hot. Like, I think we really have an opportunity here to see another jump, and I'm here for it because it brings everybody else along with it, right?
Tell you right. Tommy also says, I said to one of my subs today that we're in a new golden age of comic. Every week I read 30 to 50 comics and they are 99% good. It's so true. Like, that's the other thing, that a lot of people are worried that we're hitting, the 90s boom and bust. But the difference is, like, the vast majority of those comics were objectively not great. And the vast majority of comics today,
they were designed to be flipped through and like, oh, look at this art, and oh, look at that splash page. But like, these things are both, the art is top notch, and the writing has just done nothing but increase. Like, we are, man. Once again, I'm super excited for us. We're all in a good spot.
We're fired up for goodness. I was at Fan Expo Canada this weekend, and I talked to a number of retailers who said that numbers were up on like Thursday and Friday, and that it was a lot of people just like diving into the boxes and trying to find the stuff they want, and a lot of young people. I saw, like, there's one guy that has about 3 rows of long boxes, and it was the busiest I've ever seen that group of long boxes at this show. So very, very exciting stuff.
We're in a good spot, man. Let's go. But you know what? The thing that I think that we're going to struggle with, as an industry, it's going to be an ongoing issue, is that we're all going to struggle with the fact that there's so many decisions that the average retailer is making on a week-to-week basis. How late are you up on FOC night?
There were 18 pages of PRH FOCs to do last night.
18
pages of 25 items per page.
Each one of those is a decision you have to make with very little information. So you retailers, you need all the information you can get. You want to know how to sell a book. You want to know what is good. You want to hear from the creators, and you want to hear why you should be buying these books on any given week. And I think that you need a bit more information. So don't take my word for it.
Hi there, my name is Adriano from Pesto Comics. I'm the writer of Snip. It's a series coming out this fall. It's actually a 5-part series about traveling through time and snipping out those people that are just a little bit of a problem. But what happens when they find out that the problem is you? You can find it in stores everywhere on October 7th.
Hi, my name is Raymond Brunson. I'm the writer and artist of Ghostman Haunts Again. It's the 3rd book in my Ghostman series. It is a 56-page black and white comic, oversized, 9x12. And, it's a really cool story about this vigilante who's a ghost who can walk through walls, conjure guns at will. And in this story, he has a new sidekick named Head Honcho, and they go against a crime kingpin. I can't wait for people to check it out. It's going to be in stores just in time for Halloween. And thank you so much.
We're back. Those are so fast.
I know.
They're just so fast.
And that's what you need. You need to know. Get in, get out. What's the hook? What am I going to do? How am I going to sell this? These are Snip, by the way. I'm really looking forward to this book from our friends at Pesto Comics. This is all the information you're going to need to order it. And I will tell you, Adriano loves these bundles. He does such a good job with these bundles. It makes a lot
Oh,
of
it's a
sense.
bundle of
for
10. That's really cool. Yeah.
bundles of 10, absolutely, and a great value too, so that you can
Yeah.
try out a book without having to, go in as hard. And Ghost Man haunts again, just in time for spooky season. Take it from Raymar Brunson. Good job, by the way, Raymar. First time I've heard you pitch. I'm really impressed. Cosmic Lion putting out really great books. Here are the numbers you can order, all from the Prana Publishers section of your catalog. Please do order deep, because we these folks deserve them. Oh, speaking of, so Prana, we have comics. We're Prana publishers, Prana Direct Market Solutions. My team, the folks who do this stuff, we build tools for retailers. We build tools for publishers. Like, most of our day is designed making publishers' lives a little easier and trying to get that word out to retailers. One of our crew, but half of our crew all make different comics, right? Some make magazines, some make their own books. Marcus Walker from Chris Yates is a busy guy. But we've been working with Brandon Blocksdorf, who is currently at Kickstarter and is now working with us on a couple different projects. One of them I can't wait to announce. Anyway, he has his own Kickstarter live, Fake Your Death. It looks really great. Hit this QR code, check it out. I think he's going to be doing some stuff for retailers. You want to definitely check out Fake Your Death from Brandon, because those guys do really good stuff. Oh,
Or reminding
look at this.
Reminding them.
Absolutely. All you got to do is put in hashtag CII live. Just do that. Just do that. And you can get these two things shipped to you. I'm going to ship them out today. That's my promise. Okay. Everything.
Wow.
These are going out today. Before issue 7 hits the shelves next week, you will have your copy. All right. So there you go.
Crazy.
know.
Look at that. Look
I
at
know.
Look at
Megan, we got to ship these out today. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, we're bringing in our buddy Shannon.
You know what? Let's do a quick intro for him, and then we're gonna take him out and bring him back in.
Okay.
Is this actually him? Is that you, Shannon? Is that your
That's
picture?
him, yeah, that's him.
See?
Oh
Why
my
wouldn't that
God.
be me?
I don't
The
know,
beard's
it's
too short.
The beard's a little short and a little scraggly.
Well, I had just picked that bad boy. I had to drive out to outside of Nashville to pick that guy up, and I was so excited we got him in. That was before the East store opened up.
That's amazing.
You can see there's nothing behind me, right? It was like one of the first things we put in the store. I was like, "We're opening up another store. I'm going to get that Silver Surfer the guy told me about a few years ago." And I went.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know that came from that weird Fantastic Four movie? They were in the theater.
Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
that's right. And that was actually the model, the actor who was a Silver Surfer in that movie is a guy named Doug Jones, who was one of our regulars at Brave New World, the shop that I owned.
You're kidding me.
He was also Abe Sapien in
that's right.
and Hellboy, and
and genuinely, I mean, he's been in lots of movies. Look up his body of work. He's always all these creepy guys, but he is legitimately the sweetest person I have ever met in my life. He is incredible. All right. Anyway, sorry, that was an old man. That's my old man trivia moment. Speaking of old man trivia, we're gonna bring you back in here in a minute after I do my little talk. So
yeah, man.
Okay.
No problem.
All right, because you told that story that has gotten me thinking ever since, and I've tried to tell it myself, and I'm just not as good. So I think it's because I don't have that Memphis accent. It doesn't sound near as good.
That is true.
You know what I'm
That is
saying?
true.
All right, yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's get this rolling. All right, we'll bring you back in. You want to be here for this? You want to take a break?
No, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna sit back and just listen and enjoy. So
I tell you what,
yeah.
Anytime you want, just drop yourself back in. Okay,
I will. You got it. You got it.
I don't have control over the slides though, so someone else is gonna have to do that. That's gonna be a problem.
That's the best scam I've ever played. I'll push the button.
Okay. All right. So this presentation was originally called the Past, Present, and Future Comics Distribution. Comic books have changed over the years, and they have changed really primarily because of the way they're distributed. Business changes have caused differences in how the books are made and where they're made and how they're distributed and who they're made for all comes from distribution. So in order to understand the future of distribution, you really kind of have to go backwards and understand the past, right? So we're going to start with the past and get into some of the secret history of these comics and how these things really developed. So when we talk about comic books, what we're talking about were these books that were originally going to be, they were reprints of the comics that were in newspapers. And they were primarily done for kids. We would gather together all of those strips and they make these books. And that's how we ended up with the format that comics is now that we know. So in the 1920s, 1930s, we began to see this, and they were distributed through newsstands. And those newsstand distributors were, mostly regional. They would change up a little bit, but for the most part, they were done kind of on a neighborhood basis. You would see, you always see the paper boys who talking and selling papers, and we've seen that in our history books. That's the era that we're talking about. And so the modern comic book, right around 1939, the modern comic book begins with Marvel Comics 1, right? Companies are now, they're able to launch these large scale publishing initiatives that are able to distribute to worldwide. So we're starting to see sort of broader and broader look. We also, during that period, we're seeing comics that are done for everybody. We're seeing crime comics. We're seeing romance comics. We're seeing comics for little kids, comics for middle grade kids. Like superheroes really were that. Slide. During this period, there are no comic shops, right? There's only these newsstands. There's no, so these are really cash heavy, route-based territorial pipelines, right? That turns out was actually built for mob control. Like they got really good at building these sort of systems that would allow for local mobs, organized crime to kind of take over. And so we would see these large national chains pushed down to the regional wholesalers that would go to the newsstands, and everybody would have their routes, and some people would get, muscle in on those routes. And like, say you're trying to come in and compete, what you end up seeing is people being, let's just say, victimized by organized crime. Slide. So in 1954, there's this public panic over a book called Seduction of the Innocent that was, at first it was serialized inside of really popular women's magazines. And there was a book that came out that was talking about how the comics were seducing our innocent. They were changing our children. They were making them into these criminals, junior criminals, because of comic books. And so out of that becomes the Comics Code Authority. There's this really fascinating story I'm not going to be able to get into here, that is about how the Comics Code Authority, which is a volunteer thing that allowed this infrastructure to be built around the editorial of comics, actually was written in order to get rid of the people who were doing comics for everyone. They legitimately started being controlled by the publishers who focused on superheroes, which is why superheroes are still so popular today, is because for a period, that was the only thing you could make that would get the Comics Code Authority. I won't get into it, but you should go and look up. There's a speech by Frank Miller back in '93, the artist Frank Miller, the writer Frank Miller, who did a speech about the Comics Code Authority. You gotta watch it. Or listen to it. It's incredible. Okay, so we start seeing these mass distribution content crackdowns. These things that are you're no longer able to get these, no longer able to get in smaller publishers. You are also no longer able to do anything that isn't thought of as for kids. And so the comics distribution becomes centralized and starts being dominated by a few national wholesalers. Anybody who's listened to the who understands our current distribution setup and the recent history will see something familiar here. So this leads us to post these hearings, there's this crew called Independent News that is DC's distributor. Now DC is essentially running distribution, which means that Marvel has to go through DC Comics in order to get onto shelves. So DC used the Comics Code Authority to build control of competition, of their competition inside of distribution, which meant that Marvel had to really fight for its place. Had it not been so popular, it would not be there. And so we end up with this bottleneck that really shapes how comics are made and how they're perceived. Okay. The next slide. Yes. This leads to something fascinating. We end up, because of the one publisher decided that they wanted to take on distribution, and that distribution ended up kind of failing, we end up with a monopoly called the American News Company. Now, the American News Company, if I remember right, the next panel goes into this. The next slide goes into this a little bit. The American News Company owns distribution. They own the smaller regional distributors. They own everything. And as a result of their bankruptcy, we end up with this huge vacuum. Inside of this vacuum, the mob once again rushes in. And so all of these mob-linked regional wholesalers come in and start taking over these places. Now, this happens from the 1950s to the 1970s. There's about 20 years where comics really came through these sort of mob-based things, which is ironic because you couldn't make anything that didn't go through the Comics Code Authority, and it was then sold by these mobbed up distributors. It's an incredible period. We could do another hour on this one, but I'm not going to. I won't bore you all. 1972, ironically, the year I was born. Phil Seuling Phil Seuling and a secret, a little known person named Johnny, whose the last name I cannot remember right this second. I really meant to do that prep. But Johnny, his wife, Phil's wife and partner, they found Seagate Distributors. Now, there are a number of different retailers all over the world at this point who are looking at the problem of distribution and saying, I own a comic book shop. I just want to sell comic books. So why should I have to buy in the same way that newspaper stands are buying? And so they go directly to the publishers. Very specifically, Phil and Johnny go to the big publishers and say, hey, let us buy direct from you, and we will sell direct to all these other comic book shops. They own their own comic shop. They create Seagate Distribution, and that allows them to free up those bottlenecks, right? It allows them to open that up. And we get the rise of the direct market as a result. Now, this is a really fascinating period. Hold on. So because of this rise of these comic shops in the 1980s, we see this boom, right? This boom of these independent books, these people who are creating new comics for comics fans, right? And not just for the fans that are coming into the newsstands, but also the distributors, or the retailers themselves are fans. So suddenly you can make a comic book that is being sold to a fan who would then sell it to other fans. Now here, I'm going to take a pause. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we're going to bring our special guest in, because this special guest, let's just bring him in. Shannon, tell us how you came to learn this story, how this came about for you.
There's a kind of it's kind of a long story as far as like how I got interested in that, but it's the story of like Charlton Comics, right?
Yeah.
And how they kind of got started and the distribution. I think there was a moment in time where, and I think there's a lot of moments, there's the same moment for a lot of other comic book collectors, especially people that have just been in it for a little while. And then somebody says, oh yeah, the Watchmen are based on the Charlton characters, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And then they're like, what? And then you explain it to them, and their like minds is blown, right? It just kind of opens his world to them, right? Well, that kind of how it started with me. And then I was like, okay, let me really see like how this Charlton coming, because I bought Charlton comics in the 70s. And when I couldn't get the good stuff or there wasn't anything, I'd buy a Charlton comic every once in a while. They weren't always the greatest. But the history of the company, when I started looking into it, just really fascinated me. Lots of intrigue and crime and mob related activities in the Charlton publishing history and distribution.
So tell us how the Charlton crew comes together, because this is one of my favorite parts of this story.
All right. So there's a guy named John Santangelo, and he was born in Italy, and he immigrates to the U.S. And he was a contractor, and he ended up doing is his girlfriend wanted to know the lyrics to a song, and so he goes into the city of New York, and he comes back with a lyric sheet that cost 35 cents. And she was outraged by that because it cost $8, because that's $8 in our money. So that was a lot of money. So he was like, well, she just wants the lyrics. So he just starts going and buying a whole bunch of he goes in the city, buys a whole bunch of popular songs on lyrics, takes them home, makes copies of them, and starts hand selling them. Well, this was a huge racket back in the 30s. Because all the phonographs started happening, record shops and stuff like that started happening. So sheet music was getting less and less affordable because it wasn't as in demand. So the prices were getting higher. So he was cutting out the middleman, and he started selling them himself. So he's self-distributing, right? He ends up getting busted for copyright. He was making the equivalent of $600,000 to $800,000 a year printing off bootleg sheet music.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was a building contractor. Now he's doing this. And so he's made a buttload of money for doing it for 8-9 years. And they've been trying, the music industry was trying to stop him. And, not just him, even Al Capone was in that racket in the bootleg song lyrics and music. Mm-hmm. And Santangelo was smart. He started buying his own printing equipment. He started having his own distribution. He would never publish the name of his company on the music, so it's hard to track him, right? Well, he gets busted, or one of his delivery guys gets busted with thousands of things of sheet music. They trace it back to him, and he gets finally put in front of a judge. He pays a $600 fine. And he's like, yeah, I'll go to jail for 8 months. So in 1939, he goes to jail for 8 months for copyright infringement, which was kind of a big deal because they really weren't. He was they called him the kingpin of sheet music. And so while he's in jail, he's still having a prison. He's still trying to negotiate all these for these music companies he owes money to. Well,
right.
In prison with him is this guy named Ed Levy. And Ed Levy was in prison because he was embezzling money from a local city government. He was a lawyer who got kicked out of Yale University for cheating. And he ends up in prison because what he was doing, he was gauging utility rates for the town of Waterbury, Connecticut. So basically he's billing, not doing the studies. He's billing the city. They're paying him money, and he's kicking back money to the mayor, to the city council, to all these people. So they get caught. So he's in jail. So he starts asking Ed Levy, John Santangelo, starts asking Levy, hey, how do I negotiate these things? And they start talking about their business. And he's like, Levy was like, man, if you've got the distribution, the places to sell to, when we get out, why don't we just, do this legitimately? And this is 41, no comics yet, nothing about comics. He had access to some printing stuff, some printers and things like that. He had some property. So he ends up like setting up shop in Derby, Connecticut, which becomes the hometown for Charlton Comics Publishing. And he realizes that, well, what they did is, I mean, they were pretty nefarious. Like they were not like up and up people. There was a huge magazine, music magazine called Song Lyrics, which is the most popular song, legitimate like magazine being published at that time, because music was really getting popular, especially during the war. And there was a lot of regulations about like paper and stuff like that.
Sure.
So you can only print so much. Well, all they did was they came up with a new name, Hit Parade or Magazine. Like old school people will know Hit Parade as a music magazine. It was around till the 80s.
Right.
And they basically copied Song Lyrics and made their own magazine and set it up in distribution. And they were doing really well. They ended up being the #1 music magazine in the nation by taking that model and put Song Lyrics out of business. Well, they had 10 distribution trucks. They owned everything. They owned their printing press. They owned trucks. They owned, they did everything. So, but one of the problems they had was the printing presses would break down, and they'd break down mostly on startup and shutdown, because that's when most of the if they keep running, then it's easier to maintenance them. They don't have to shut them down so much. So they were like, well, comic books are really, really popular. Why don't we at night, we're not printing enough Hit Parader magazines. Why don't we get people to make comics for us? And we'll just keep the printing presses rolling, and that'll cut down on maintenance. If we make money off of it, fantastic. If we don't, we're saving ourselves on maintenance for the machines. So it was basically like, wait, why not?
Right.
So they started publishing, and they called it Charles' Two Sons at first, because they both had kids that were both 5, and they were both named Charles. And it ends up becoming Charlton through process. They published under a whole bunch of different names.
Right.
But they published their first comic in like 1945 under the Charlton name Yellow Jacket. It was a guy who controlled swarms of bees, and he was called Yellow Jacket.
Okay.
Anyway, so these dudes okay, they've got this whole distribution. They own everything. And there was all these mob connections that they had from all their old distribution things, but they really didn't. They owned it all. So it didn't really matter. And it was interesting. You were talking about how the distribution for Marvel and DC and things like that, they didn't have to compete for that distribution. They would just send out their trucks, and they'd go to the, because they were delivering Hit Parade magazine to the 5 and dime stores and the pharmacies and all, whatever they sold that stuff in. They just be like, okay, here's comics too, right? And people knew that comics sold, so people were buying them. And so, am I good?
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
I could talk all day. It fascinates me.
I know, me too. Maybe we can compress a little bit, because we're already
I'm fast forward.
Yeah.
So now here comes like the 60s, right? And they bet on like this whole action hero thing that Rick Giordano and Steve Ditko kind of come up with. They're going to revamp all of Charlton to be kind of like Marvel and DC, because of all the success that Marvel and DC had. And the thing is that because they are printing presses are running all the time, they are making tons and tons of comics. And they're saying when they distribute, right? Oh, they've distributed 150,000 Blue Beetle comics, right?
Right.
They've printed 300,000. They've distributed 150,000. And then there's the strip cover thing. We all know about strip covers. If people know what strip covers are, the retailer strips the cover off, sends the cover back. They get credit for it for their next bill. Well, Charlton was claiming strip covers that they were not stripping. They were not being sent back. They had piles and piles and piles and piles of comics in their warehouse, and they had not just a storage problem, like for all these issues that they were getting like credit for, you're getting tax write-offs for, because it looks sold on the ledger, and they are worried about the tax man, the IRS, coming in and doing an audit and then finding all these books, so they got to get rid of them. And Marvel and DC were already kind of doing this. They weren't doing it for the tax write-off. They may have done that, but I haven't researched that side of it. But not tax write-off, but to hide things.
Sure.
So what Charlton was doing, what they decided they were going to do is they were going to start shipping like books for ballast for ships, because back in the day so Charlton, let me back up 1 second. So Charlton had no international distribution. It was only here in the United States and in North America. So there was no distribution in England or anywhere else, where Marvel had some distribution. They had some things going over there. So basically Charlton's like, okay, we need to unload these comics. So they start bundling these things up in pallets and sending them to shipping companies for ballast on cargo ships, because they need ballast to even out the loads or to make them even more efficient. So they're unloading these comics to these shipping companies, and they're sending them. Most of them are going to London, right? There's 4 places they were going, like Edinburgh, London. I can't remember the other 2. And for the most part, most of the time when they got there, they took these pallets of comics and they were just dumping them in the port. So there was, what we would consider now, millions of dollars worth of comics being just dumped overboard, Marvel, DC, Charlton, whatever it was. Right. But some of them ended up making it on the dock, like being unloaded, left alone. And then, of course, people walking by the piers and they were looking, like, oh, what is this? Oh, these are comics. And then they start like, oh, we're starting to hand sell them around the city. And then they're like, hey, don't throw these comics away. So there was like dudes that were coming in and they were just like going and grabbing all these comics, and they were setting up newsstands and things like that in like around the port and in the city, and basically setting up shops with them. So they're having basically free distribution, free product from America, and they're selling them. And there was a lot of Charlton books. And then, so as we know it, who was a kid in the 60s in London was Alan Moore. And there's an interview with him in Tomorrow's Publishing. There's an article, he gives an interview where he talks about how he got his hands and why he fell in love with the Charlton characters, because he would send his mom down to the docks to pick up some of these ballast books, is what they're called. And he was like, I want that one book with all the 4 heroes in it and the costumes. And he wanted Challengers of the Unknown, but she brought back like Fantastic Four and a bunch of Charlton books. And like he fell in love with like the Blue Beetle and, Captain Atom and all that stuff. And that's kind of what was his inspiration when they like, hey man, like he talks about it in the interview, like I wanted to write The Watchmen. The story was about the Charlton characters. And there's supposedly a script out there called Who Killed Peacemaker that we've never read. So that's
we'll get our hands on that. That's awesome. Thank you, Shannon. Once again, you dig deep, and what you're going to find is comics is hustlers, man. It's just people trying to figure out how to, take a dime and make a quarter, So
at one point, DC had salespeople, right?
Yeah.
And their distributor distributed Playboy. And they were going to places. They would go ahead regions, and they would go out and they go to these places and they'd be like, hey, if you carry Charlton, you can't have Playboy.
Right. We're going to talk some more.
Yeah,
I got to get through the rest of this deck, but I thank you, Shannon. I really appreciate you coming by.
No problem.
Awesome. That is fantastic. All right. Okay, let's dig back in. So we're in the 1980s. There's a black and white boom, partially caused by a Watchmen, because we get the opportunity to see things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and other comics that are like that, during that period that are a little more independently minded. We're starting to see new publishers come in because they have a distribution channel that allows them to get to the comic shops. This moves us into a period where things like Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen and Daredevil and those kinds of books are changing the way we think about superheroes, which is also how we end up thinking about movies now, movies and TV. 1980s, this boom leads to a lot of these bigger companies bigger distribution companies being able to buy up these now regional distributors. Once again, the same pattern that we saw back in the 40s and the 50s, we see again in the 80s. In this particular instance, there are 3 companies that are doing this: Heroes World Distribution, Diamond Comics Distribution, and Capital City. These 3 grow by acquisition. So they get a deal from a bank that allows them to finance buying up these regional distributors and using the economies of scale to become even more profitable. So we start seeing these 3 grow. Diamond is really kind of the winner here, doing the best of them, but Capital City, who is now was run partially by a man named Milton, who now runs ICV2. I can't remember his last name right this second. I'm going to keep going. These 2 become the big 2 of distribution into like 1993, when we're seeing a boom of comics, speculation boom, massive. Image Comics is coming in hard. Like everything is changing in front of us. 92, 93, we see this massive boom, and these regional distributors are starting to get bought up and changing, partially because they have all these small local warehouses, right? And that is their territory. That is their ability to get things out. 94, this is a particular thing. I remember this very clearly. I was working in a comic book shop. Marvel Comics purchases Heroes World, and they attempt to do what DC did to them decades before. And as they say, we are going to control our own distribution. If you want to buy Marvel Comics, you have to have a Heroes World account. So this leads to, new slide, Diamond and Capital City are now in a place of having to replace their Marvel content. So they start doing exclusive deals, and we ended up with this distributor war where we have Diamond really trying to take as many things as possible, Capital City trying to take as many publishers as possible, exclusives. And in the end, it was because Diamond, and there's this really fantastic story that Jim Valentino tells on a podcast that we did that allows them where Diamond takes on Image Comics, that allows them to become the big deal here. They essentially, Capital City implodes, and now once again we have Diamond Comics as what's the word I'm looking for? The monopoly of distribution, because they have all the major distributors, and as a result, they allow us to get even more independent comics into stores, which is really a fascinating thing. Is that this allows independent press to go into Diamond, because Diamond was because they had everybody. They wanted to leave those gates open for anybody who came in wanting to publish. So we begin to see this period of growth. We also begin to see periods of growth of graphic novels in bookstores, and we begin to see digital comics. Comixology launches in 2007. Simon & Schuster really gets behind it, distributing into bookstores. Diamond creates what's called Diamond Book Distributors. So they are pushing large chunks of this into the bookstores, into libraries. See Penguin Random House getting involved in a big way. And then we see this digital disruption and erosion of exclusivity. So we see Comixology come in really big and take over a big chunk of the digital distribution of comics. And they repeat the same pattern when they get lots of really big exclusives and become the dominant force. Slide. Then in 2020, COVID shutdown happens. Diamond is stuck because they shut down all those regional warehouses that gave them power. They wanted to consolidate into one big warehouse in just real close to where Shannon actually is, near Memphis, in a place called Olive Branch, Mississippi. And so there's one warehouse that is controlling something like 80% of all comics distribution is now shut down because of the COVID shutdown. DC really is essentially sets up this domino effect where they go and say to their two biggest retailers, hey, we need distribution, even though Diamond is shut down. And so Lunar Distributors and what did they call themselves? Whatever, I don't remember now. Midtown Comics and DCBS. UCS. Thank you, Brian. They step forward and they create new distribution channels that were really only supposed to be temporary. But depending on who you talk to, they were making so much money that temporary was not going to be a true thing. As a result of this, Marvel signs with Penguin Random House. Now, there's a whole lot of political personalities that are behind the scenes. You would be shocked at how many of these decisions were based off somebody said something mean to somebody else and somebody went onto YouTube and said something dumb. It's shocking to me how much of that was just about personal issues, but there we go. We see this disruption, right? So this now 27-year monopoly is broken up because of this shutdown, which leads us to this last few years of Lunar and PRH stepping in. Image Comics shifts over from Diamond over to Lunar, which means that now the top 3 market share are gone. That means that now we're seeing Diamond really struggling, because where they had these big publishers that were supporting the infrastructure that allowed them to do the small publishers, they're just circling, and it's not a good time for them. Also, we begin to see some fragmentation of the alternative model. So we're going to see crowdfunding. We see Kickstarter. We see creator-owned direct shipping. We see subscription boxes becoming a big deal. We're beginning to see people who are setting up publishers that never go into the direct market. That has completely shifted the whole dynamic that leads us to pretty much close to where we are today. Next slide. So now we have 27, by the way, we counted 27 paths to market at the moment. For direct market distribution, we're seeing the major distributors: Penguin Random House, Lunar Distribution, Universal Distribution. We haven't mentioned them yet. They are a Canadian company that is now moving. They've been distributing gaming and such into to Canada, are now moving into the US doing gaming and comics. And Diamond UK. Out of the Diamond bankruptcy, we saw the staff of that Diamond UK sub company that was owned by Diamond buy their own destiny, and they create Diamond UK. We also have the next slide. We also have distribution aggregators. Massive Indies is probably the biggest of these. Massive Comics was an independent publisher that used the opportunity here to bring smaller publishers together and essentially say to Lunar, who is not capable of handling all these small publishers, we will package them together. We will bring them to you. We at Prana, we see this and we realize that we can also be contributing to this. So we create Prana Publishers. Again, 2 different distribution aggregators. We bring these small publishers together, go to big distribution. Massive Indies is exclusive to Lunar. Prana Publishers is, we work with Lunar, Diamond UK, and Universal. Then we also we start to see these smaller indie distributors like Crown Studios. IPG was a book distributor that it also sells into comic shops. Power Pulp was a group of publishers that are indie publishers who got together and said, we want to distribute. And Filbo Distribution, which is a really small, a man who was a really small publisher, did like conventions and such, decided that he wanted to be a distributor as well. And so he left that open. What is this? I don't know. There's a timing issue. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? We also have digital distribution. We can just scroll through these really quickly if you don't mind. Digital distribution is, really fragmented and changed once Comixology got purchased. We can go ahead and slow it down. Anyway, basically what we got into is now into a space where there's so many different paths to market that if you want to get to comic shops, you really can, but you don't have to, right? If you can create a publisher outside of the comic shop system and really create something meaningful. All right, let's wrap this up so we can go to we also do direct to consumer, and you can sell through social media, you can do through conventions. Stay busy. There you go. All right, who knows what the future is? Pretty sure that somebody watching this is going to be the one who decides it, though. So, all right. Whew. Sorry, I didn't realize that was going to go so long.
That's some power. There was a lot of stuff there.
There's a lot of information in there. I'm actually considering, I don't know, I've been toying with a book. We'll see. There's a whole lot to give.
Yeah. There's a book to be made about the last few years. I think what's fascinating though is also like, I've been kind of on the inside track for the last like 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I was working in comic shops in the 80s when Diamond kind of came up, and there's a parallel story in Canada where like there's multiple distributors here. There's Multibook, which was a Toronto based, was Andromeda, which was owned by the guys who owned the Silver Snail, massive distributor in Canada, and there was like 20 of these guys that were all kind of regional and big, and Universal was one of them who kind of started gobbling up some of the other guys. So there's a cool parallel story. But then like, in 2018, 2019, I started hearing rumblings about Diamond that they were not doing great, and that like, the receivables were a little higher than their. So it's a lot of this stuff was inevitable, and the COVID pandemic kind of highlighted it. And we've talked about it a number of times, like in the comic group, that if what happened didn't happen in 2020, it probably would have happened at some point in the next 5 years.
Sure.
And maybe it's like, God forbid it's the death of Steve Cheppy that does it. But there, as we found now, there were not, all these checks and balances in place all along, that business would have eventually gone this way, and we wouldn't have had, things ready to go, and like viable publishers and things. So there's a very real reality.
There's an alternate history where the Comics Code Authority is not the biggest damage to comics in our history, right?
Absolutely.
There's a very real alternate history that's possible. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Fascinating. Fun.
I know.
It's okay though. We deserve a long episode every now and then. People, if you're still around, get your name in CII Live for the prize that's down there. So last chance.
CII Live. Let's get
last chance before we bring Porsche on, who's been sitting there for hours and hours.
During the period where Diamond had everything, they were able to give us data on how things were selling. We have, through our partnership with Managed Comics and Comic Shop Assistant, have allowed us to create a new bestseller list, and we've been building this for several years now. This allows us to bring in Sean, the stat man. Oh, Sean, thank you for sticking around, man. I don't know, the fact that you're still awake is impressive. So.
Hello. I mean, look, I'm awake because I was riveted, Adam, by your presentation and that unbelievable conversation. I am a comics history nerd. I love and live for all that stuff. So I was definitely sitting at the learning tree.
Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. That's wonderful. Let's dig in. What kind of week has it been? Let's go from past to present.
Sure. Well, I think there's a return to form this week as we're looking at the market share by publisher. DC definitely came back with a vengeance after losing, I believe it was last week, by a very tiny margin. This week they took things by 15%, which is a nice chunk. And Image with a very high showing. I can't wait to talk a little bit more about that number, but 17%, which is several percentage points higher than we're used to.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's the high end. I mean, I would say that in the time that we've been talking, this is the highest end that they usually top out around 18%. This is they rarely get into this space. So I can't wait to hear about that. I love seeing Ignition Press on this list. I love seeing Titan Comics on this list. This is really fantastic. And IDW and Boom both doing like substantial business, considering they had ran into a tree.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh yeah, there's the story right there. Yeah.
Look at that. That's it. 1, 2, and 3 going into for going to DC. What is Batman Bad Seed Sunset? How did what is that book?
That's actually the kickoff to the next event that DC is doing. It's a Batman sort of Poison Ivy based event that's going to run for 10 weeks with countless tie-ins. I mean, they're really pushing out a bunch of tie-ins for this, but this was the kickoff. And so I think everybody needed to read this just to kind of get that primer for what the event's going to be. And then we're going to see things splinter off. It was okay, though. It was okay. A lot of people really enjoyed it as an opening salvo. For me, I thought it was just all right.
Yeah, all right. And I gotta say, man, is there any success story? I mean, in comics this year that rivals Che Grayson and Bengal just coming out of seemingly nowhere for Absolute Catwoman? I cannot imagine what it's like to be Che Grayson. That is a crazy, crazy story, right?
Yeah.
So they were supposed to be at Fan Expo and they didn't make it this week because the scheduling difficulties. But Bengal and Raphael Albuquerque were seated next to each other at the end of the row, and holy mackerel, that was a Todd McFarlane size line. Like it was massive. It was so great. I love to see that kind of thing.
I did too. It's nice. It's nice to see people come out of, and come in so strong and know what they're doing and arrive as if. Tell me about Next Level One Shot. This one's a new one for me as well.
Yeah, this one I feel like went pretty under the radar, and I'm interested to hear, Brian, if you felt that same way as a retailer. But I didn't really hear too much buzz about this at all. To be really honest, I'm sort of surprised to see it in the top 10 just because no one's really talked about it.
It was a Deadshot one shot, and it was offered in bundles. And I know we went relatively aggressively on it and promoted it, and it did really, really well. It's a good, like, solid, mid-tier DC book. It was fun too, just a fun book.
I love surprising people who are in the green room. So I'm gonna ask Shannon, how did you guys do on Next Level One Shot?
We didn't sell very many, unfortunately. I think between the two stores, we probably didn't do very well on that one. Not many people. We have a few on the shelf still, so maybe they'll come in after seeing this.
Maybe so. We're gonna push them in. That's good. Any big surprises for you this week, Shannon? Any big sales?
No, not at the moment. I mean, we're pretty steady. We have. It's such a weird. We have such a weird, like, Wednesday Warriors are always really good, but we're in such a walkable area that our sales are kind of always all over the place on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it kind of messes that people just kind of just grabbing things off the shelf that they see that they like. So we're in a real kind of touristy area when people on the weekends.
Yeah,
it's a good problem to have, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's why we chose the location, right?
Yeah. Like, I would imagine that Spider-Man is an easy pickup for people these days, especially the covers have been really, vibrant and solid.
You would be surprised. We have a hard time selling Spider-Man right now.
Really?
Yes. After the graphic novels are fantastic, that do well. And we've been selling a ton of those Marvel Premiere Collection books, but the Marvel, like, Spider-Man mainline, like, we went from like 28 subscribers to like 6 over the last year.
What?
That was just one store. I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
Our biggest Marvel subscribed books right now are Captain America. X-Men is always kind of constantly there. And then Daredevil went from like 30 subscribers at one of our stores to like 8, but now it's picking back up because of this new run. So, but yeah, Marvel's had a tough time in our market. DC, though, killing it. Can't keep it on the shelf.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing we've seen. Sean, any big surprises for the rest of the 400?
Yeah, so I have a lot to say about the rest of the 400. It's not visible here, but Absolute Batman number 23
in
was 11th in sales, which is pretty
the
incredible
third
because
week.
yeah, week number 3, that's really ridiculous. It beat out some pretty heavy hitting titles as well, so that's a huge shout out. The big storyline to me this week though is definitely Image Comics. That 17% number is pretty high, and why did that happen? Well, it happened because Terminal 2 was number 7th in sales. Hammer Fist was 14th. You had ROM Special as 15th. And it for a total of what is that? 8 books in the top 30. That's a pretty nice number for Image Comics. And it's worth saying none of these are Transformers. You know, Hammer
Yep.
Fist is a Giant Generator original. Great book, by the way. My favorite book of last week. But you're also talking about Corpse Knight, which I thought would have fallen off by now because that's one of those speculator books that we all said would be dead and buried. This one has had legs. So
Awesome.
great stuff for Image.
Yeah, a couple other like Fireborn seems to always surprise me. It's
Yeah.
got, double-digit subscribers for us, which I'm always shocked about. Um, what was that other one? Final Boss always does really well for us. The Black and White Duo Powerbomb has done
Man,
well for a black and white reprint of a thing.
it's really done really that we're kind of a wrestling town.
Yeah.
So anything wrestling like really does well. But that do it, I really did. I was like, man, no, is anybody gonna buy this? Man, I didn't order enough.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's a great story. I mean, for sure. And the ROM one shot, I'm a huge sucker for ROM. Like,
how did Void Rivals do? Because that is the first real appearance of him in the Energon universe.
Not so great for us. We've gotten, well, of course, at first Void Rivals was highest subscribed Image book till Transformers came out. It's kind of dropped down. The ROM, I bought like 10 copies. Nobody subscribed to it. I sold a few. But I've picked up all 3 and I've been pushing it now. I'm like, come on, you got to read ROM.
Yeah.
He's got a jellyfish like cape thing going on. So it's really cool. So
awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to cut you guys short because we have a little bit more business to do and we got to get out of here. Sean, tell folks how they can find you.
So you can find me within the pages of Comics the Magazine, as I'm a contributor there, which I love so much. But you can also find me on the Comics Pals YouTube channel. This week on Thursday, we'll be reviewing the biggest releases. But Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern, I will be starting a deep dive into Marvel Comics in the 2000s. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of that decade. We're going to talk about how Marvel pulled themselves out of the brink of absolute bankruptcy to become the biggest comics publisher, bar none.
Oh, incredible. All right. So show up for that. Shannon, where can people find you?
They can find me in Memphis, Tennessee at 901 Comics, 901 Games, 901 Comics East, 901 Games East, or Java Cabana Coffee Shop. And you also find me at New York Comic Con, hanging out with you guys, hopefully.
Probably.
And if you want to talk about Charlton Comics, let me know because I love it. If you want to know what some of the things I think, I got this Charlton companion thing. This is kind of hard to get.
Is that a Tomorrow's one?
It is.
Yeah, I love those things.
It's fantastic. If you can get your hands on this, if you're interested in Charlton stuff, you have to find it on eBay. Really expensive, but worth it.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. Thanks so much. That was excellent. Thank you, Sean. All right. If you are interested in this kind of data, if you're really a nerd for this stuff, you really should check out. Just scan the QR code, pull out your phone, scan it, or go to pranadm.com. Sign up for our newsletter, the Prana Bullet. We're going to show you the top 400 every single week, even the weeks where we don't have enough time for it here. And all of the big stories of the week, is including the ones that we just didn't have enough time to cover here. Please check it out. Our friend Megan puts so much effort and love into that thing every week. So make sure that you subscribe. We'll get you the next one. Let's shouting out. Oh, yes. Oh, if you don't know, Comics the Magazine is on Discord. We have these little QR. We've been putting these QR codes out, these little invite links that'll only allow in a certain number of people. And we keep breaking them, so we stop putting them out. We want to give everybody a chance to kind of settle in. This one is new. It's brand spanking new. If you're not in our Discord yet, go ahead and scan this in and go to Comics the Magazine, the Discord, because we definitely have been seeing some really fantastic people interacting with a lot of the creators that are in the magazine are in there talking about stuff. Like there's some of my favorite people who I haven't seen in forever in comics are hanging out and just talking about comics they're making, and it's really fantastic. I really like it.
It's a good time.
Yeah. And number 7 is going to be out next week. I will be at Anyone Comics on Thursday at 7 p.m. here in Brooklyn. This Thursday, 7 p.m. Giving away copies of issue 7, which are not out until next week.
Don't tell
we're going to be.
If retailers find this out, they're going to be mad at you.
Oh, hush.
They're going to be so mad at you.
How many can I carry? Anyway,
releasing them a day early. Oh, you're breaking street date. There is an
I get
entire group of
my book.
retailers
I get to break street date if I want to.
Oh.
All right. Anyway, we're gonna have prizes. We're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be doing the first year anniversary of the book that they've been the magazine they've been putting out at Anyone Comics. So come by and check us out. Also get on the mailing list, Comics the Magazine. We'll let you know what's happening. What's new?
Hey, if you are interested in Managed Comics at all, come see Max on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'll not be there because I'll be in a lunar meeting, but Max will be there and you can talk to him, and I'll probably drop in around 1:30. Every week, Max hosts office hours. If you just go managedcomics.com/Discord, you can get an invite into our Discord channel and join him there.
Oh, the vote's over. We're not doing Ringo Awards.
No,
vote's over. We're not doing that
It's time
anymore.
to do.
Come see us in Baltimore.
Giveaway. Well,
yeah,
Trevor gets himself locked up. Do you think Joe's gone, right?
Yeah, he's not in the back.
He won't be watching in the back. Okay, because I'm gonna cheat on him a little bit, dude. The new Blitz magazine number 3 came out.
Yeah.
This is the best free magazine on the planet. Like free. They charge free dollars and free cents. It's free. So I picked one up at Fan Expo. It's so good, dude. I'll bring you one in New York.
Have you heard our news about that?
No.
Oh, you should not. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk.
Okay, there's news.
That magazine is. I love that magazine. Absolutely.
It's so good. There's an interview with Jim Rugg in here. It's really, really good stuff about Power Pulp, which you had mentioned in your presentation. I really enjoy this thing. So if you're near a shop that has one, go in there and grab one. And if you're a shop, you can actually have them sent to you, and you can give them out or charge $1 or whatever for them.
Hold on, just want this is somebody in our chat to actually. I mean, not actually. That was a surprise, but somebody in our chat saying something that my explicit midnight titles.
Yeah, I thought they were ongoing. Yeah, I didn't want to call you on that, but yeah, I thought they were ongoing.
Well, it's good to know. I hope they do. I hope they do well. All right, Trevor.
There's been ongoing stuff before that has died after the 3rd episode.
Yeah, just kidding. It was a mini series.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding. We're just playing. All right, let's give away some books.
Ready to roll?
Let's go.
All right.
Do it, Trevor. Do it.
Spinning the wheel.
Pushing the button. Yeah, we see it.
What? Big money, no whammies. Big money, no whammies.
Okay.
Matt Tommy! Tommy wins.
Love the confetti. That's how you know it's done.
All right.
That's right.
Packing these up tomorrow, Tommy. Coming at you.
You said
Make sure
today.
that we have your address. I know he actually said he was leaving, so we may never find out. He literally posted in the chat that he was leaving.
He did do that.
That's true.
That's what you get, Tommy.
All right.
You may never receive this. All right, cool. Boy, let's I'm so long-winded. Let's button this up.
Yeah. This is all on you. We're gonna leave. See ya.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Did you watch this? Did you watch this whole thing? Are you so interested in comics that you were able to listen to me talk about comics distribution for an hour? God bless you. But thank you. And if you love what we do so much that you do your own research and you have stories like what Shannon brought us, thank you. And if you stick around for, the talk about sales numbers, and you just love the whole culture of comics, and you just invest in that, and you show up, and you are as interested in comics as we are, thank you. But mostly, if you go to your comic shop every week and you buy your big stack of books, and you listen to Shannon talk about how great ROM is, and you like put that in your subscription, thank you. Thank you, all of you. You know why? Because this week you saved comics. Namaste, y'all.
Comic Industry Insiders Live is dedicated to retailers, publishers, and fans of the comics industry. The show is a joint production between Prana Direct Market Solutions and Manage Comics. Trevor Richardson is our producer. For more information about the show, visit pranadm.com. Have an idea for the show or want to advertise your brand or business on the show? Send us an email at info@pranadm.com. And thank you for saving comics.